And good afternoon and welcome to the booth with Darren Todd on KDX AM 1590. Thank you for making us part of your day. I'm very excited to talk to my next guest. He is a candidate for county clerk of Stoddard County. He is going to take over, the winner was going to take over for the retiring clerk Cecil Weeks. I'm happy to have in the booth Mr. Larry Sandage. Larry, may I call you Larry?
Yes, that's fine.
Welcome to the booth. Larry, tell the listeners a little bit about Larry Sandage.
I grew up here, was born in Sykeston. My parents were from Bloomfield. Lived here all my life, graduated from Dexter High School. Valedictorian, class of 86. Married a girl from Puxico in 1990. Matter of fact, on primary day, it'll be our 36th wedding anniversary, August 4th. So, anyway, we have 3 children. They all graduated from Dexter. 2 grandchildren. One of them is going to be a Bearcat. Or is a Bearcat. She's going to be 7th grade.
A lot going on there, Larry.
Yeah, for sure.
Obviously, you're very proud of your family. You know, I've done some searching on your Facebook page. Looks like you got a lot of people out there helping you. When you're not out campaigning and you're not with the family, you also have a business here in town. Is that correct?
I actually have 2. I have the L&M Locksmith. It's been around about 50 years. I'm the third owner. I've had it, this is my 31st year of owning L&M Locksmith. I bought an alarm company, from a friend of mine at Poplar Bluff about 25 years ago. And so we run them both.
And, you know, I've always been fascinated with locksmiths, and I think you're probably looking at me thinking, you're just saying that, Darren, because I'm here in front of you. But I really am amazed. Chuck Cardette down at Kennett, I don't know if you know Chuck. He's got the locksmith.
I think I've met him once.
Yeah. He does that, and every time he comes out and he has those little master keys and he has those little things and he starts messing with all those like intricate little details, I am amazed by that.
It's very intricate work. I mean, a lot of people don't realize, and you know, you're working through a keyhole. So,
and you know, and again, we're on Welcome to the Loop with Darren Todd on KDX AM 1590, talking to Larry Sandage, Republican candidate for county clerk of Stoddard County. The primary will be August 4th this year. Is that correct? If you've not registered, I think there's still time to register.
July the 8th, yeah.
July 8th is the last day to register. Get registered. And one thing, you know, Larry and I were talking off the air. One thing we are both wanting people to encourage, get out and vote. Isn't that right?
Oh, yeah. Yes. Need turnout.
And, you know, this is the 250th year of the United States. And I think if we want to be around another 250 years, we're going to have to increase our voter pool and the amount of people voting. Because I don't think people really realize the significance of what the county clerk does, do they, Larry?
I've been telling people more and more about it. You know, we organize the elections and prepare the ballots. I haven't not done that, but the clerk's office does.
Right.
Register people to vote, and they have a lot to do with the budget. The commissioners set the budget, and you know, you're pretty much facilitating it and paying the bills and doing the payroll for the whole county. So,
and you also, one thing that I think is very interesting for the county clerk, like you say, not only they're the election official, they're also the budgetary official for the county of Stoddard. And you look at it, every county office proposes a budget, gives it to you, and then it goes to the county commission, and you guys kind of facilitate the numbers. But it's almost like you're the chief financial officer of the county, correct?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah, I would call it that. Yeah.
And tell me a little bit about your businesses. You indicated that you have the locksmith business. Do you do that with anybody else?
As far as
employees, things of that nature?
Oh, yeah. I currently don't have any employees, but right. I have had employees before, and you have to do a budget. I mean, you can't stay in business 31 years without, manage your finances and, keeping the lights on. So
now, Larry, one thing I always think is funny is Congress doesn't seem to have any problem just creating as much money as they want, but that doesn't exactly exist in the real world, does it?
Doesn't work in the real world. No, and I do not have an unlimited budget. So.
And you told me a little bit again. We're on Welcome to the Booth with Darren Todd on KDX AM 1590, talking to Larry Sandage, Republican candidate for the Stoddard County Clerk position to take the place of Cecil Weeks, who will be retiring. The primary will be August 4th this year. One thing that I think a lot of people will need to realize, and I'm sure they do, but when you go to vote in a primary, you declare your party. You're either Republican, Democrat, I think there may be a Libertarian ticket or something like that. But you have to ask specifically, in this case, the two candidates are both on the Republican ticket, so ask for that Republican ballot, so that way you can vote for either Larry Sandage or Courtney Aslan for county clerk. Larry, tell me a little bit about how it's been going on with the campaign. What have you been out doing?
So we filed the end of March, and within a week we were putting up signs. Really come out of the gate fast. Didn't want to peak too early, but surprised a lot of people. They weren't expecting it, and real happy with what my family's got behind it. Friends have got behind it. Have lots of volunteers, lots of help with it, and right now we're currently knocking on doors and attending a few events here and there. So.
And again, one thing you realize when you start knocking doors in Stoddard County, it's a big county.
It is huge, yes.
You go to Advance, Puxico, Essex, Gray Ridge, all the way down to Bernie. It's a lot to cover.
We spent about 5 hours just in Essex a couple weekends ago. So.
And I know that you obviously also have some Facebook information out there, correct?
Yeah, I do have a Facebook page, Larry Sandage for Stoddard County Clerk. Appreciate everybody liking and visiting that page for sure. And
you indicated that you decided to run back in March, and what kind of prompted your decision to want to run for county clerk?
Probably, I think it was 2010, I was approached by some Republicans about running for clerk. Don White was retiring, or had retired, and Mr. Henley was appointed at that time. And I can't remember if he was going to run again, or if I think he did run as a Democrat. But so I was considering it then in 2010. But whenever Mr. Joe Watson jumped in, he's a real good customer of mine and a friend, and I just didn't want to run against him. And then in 2018, Mr. Watson retired, and at that time my family we were dealing with some personal family stuff, and the timing wasn't right.
Right.
So this year, I talked to my wife just pretty much since the end of February about it, and we prayed a lot about it and really considered what it would take, and we decided that last week that this was going to be the move. So.
And again, we're on Welcome to the Booth with Darren Todd on KDX AM 1590, talking to Larry Sandage, Republican candidate for county clerk, Stoddard County. And Larry, that kind of brings me to the next point. A campaign, a lot of people don't realize it's not only very difficult for the candidate, but there's a lot involved with the family. Isn't that right?
Yes. So I actually ran for state representative in 1998. I was 30 years old, and I was running against an incumbent Democrat. And so this is not really that new to me. I had way smaller budget back then, and I was an unknown, and she spent $45,000. I spent $4,500. I actually beat her in Stoddard County, but then it was part of Scott County, Morley and Oran, and so the heavy Democrat area over there put her back over the top. So narrow loss there.
So you're familiar with politics?
Fairly. I stay involved, yeah.
And again, are you a member of the Republican Central Committee, things of that nature?
No. We've attended the Republican club meetings and stuff like that, and we're members of that. But.
Okay. And again, we're on Welcome to the Booth with Darren Todd on KDX AM 1590, talking to Larry Sandage. Again, to get out to vote, August 4th will be the Republican primary, actually the primary for everything. There'll be a lot on the ballot, sales tax, the petition initiative reform, things of that nature. So it's very important that you get out and vote. Larry, tell me a little bit about the response you've been getting throughout the county as you've been going door to door. I've seen that you've been knocking on some doors, obviously putting out signs. Driving up, I noticed a lot of signs are being put up, a lot of place. Very impressive. Tell me a little bit about the response you're getting.
So being in business for 31 years, I've got, extensive contacts throughout the county, and I've been told that by a few people that, hey, I just didn't realize that many people knew Larry Sandage in the county. Well, unfortunately, they didn't know Larry Sandage. They knew the locksmith for the most part. So I'm still educating a lot of people, hey, this is Larry Sandage, L&M locksmith. They know me as Larry the locksmith, basically. So that's been kind of a hurdle at first, but yeah, I work all over the county, and one of my posts was, I've been just about down every county road in Stoddard County for the last 31 years, and which I do a lot out of the county, but so I'm very familiar with, a lot of business people, a lot of individuals, and even when I knock on doors, I didn't know you lived here, and so I'm still meeting people and finding out that, hey, that's where they live. But anyway, so that's the main thing, was getting my name, recognition back out there for that's Larry Sandage. So.
And one thing I think about a lot of people when they call a locksmith, you're probably the most excited person they've ever seen in their life.
Absolutely.
Because usually
I'm their hero.
When I call a locksmith, I'm in dire straits because I've locked myself out of my car or something of that nature. I need to change some locks. So it's almost like after you get done, you're like, it was worth it, whatever you're going to charge me, Larry.
Well, and over the years, and I do a lot of stuff for the police. If there's a wellness check, I don't charge for that. I've done that for years. And most of the time, the mom's worse off than the baby when the baby's locked in the car, and you hate to charge them for that. If they've got their insurance that'll cover that, okay, but otherwise, they're distraught enough. I'm not going to take another hit at them. So,
and again, we're on Welcome to the Loop with Darren Todd on KDX AM 1590, talking to Larry Sandage, a Republican candidate for county clerk of Stoddard County, a longtime businessman in the area with L&M Locksmith.
L&M Locksmith.
Yeah. 35 years.
That's starting 31 this year.
And you also indicated that you had an alarm business. Tell me a little bit about that. I'm kind of interested in that as well.
So yeah, I've got a lot of commercial and residential alarm accounts throughout the county and throughout Southeast Missouri. I bought an existing business. Both of these were existing businesses. It's so hard to start up a business from scratch, and so.
Well, feel free. I love shameless plugs. What's the name of this?
Professional Security Systems.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But anyways,
I cut you off.
Yeah, that's fine. A friend of mine from Poplar Bluff, he did alarms, and he didn't do locksmithing, and I did locksmithing at the time, and he didn't do alarms. Well, everybody in Poplar Bluff that did alarms, but him, had locksmithing business. So whenever he needed a locksmith job, he would call me. And so that's how we struck up that relationship. And then he was actually a full-time policeman and doing this on the side. And it just got too big for him. And he loved police work and didn't want to give it up. So he ended up selling it to me and haven't looked back. So. And
obviously it's still in business. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm, correct.
And if you're interested in getting professional alarms, I'm sorry, name?
Professional Security Systems.
Professional security, you can call.
Yeah. So the best way to get me is through the locksmith, number 624-7408. It rolls over to my cell phone 24/7. So.
And again, we're on Welcome to the Loop with Darren Todd on KDX AM 1590, talking to Larry Sandage, a Republican candidate for Stoddard County Clerk. Talking a lot about his background, his history. You indicated that you're the valedictorian of your class. That's pretty impressive.
I tease my kids all the time about, do you want to see my medal? That it comes with a sash, and I don't wear it. I honestly don't wear it. So.
I would. I graduated from Holcomb. I think we had 25 people in my class, and I tell everybody that I was in the top 10, not top 10%, the top 10 of the class.
Right. Yeah. So there was 150 something kids in my class. It was a pretty good class, but. My wife went to a Christian school, and I think she was second or third out of 8. So.
Yes, but you don't hold that against her.
No, I don't. No, I wouldn't.
So tell me, Larry. I know that we're getting down to the wire here. I think we got about 35 days.
Less than 6 weeks. Yeah,
So-
it'll be 5 weeks Tuesday. Yeah.
Obviously you've been covering. What are some? Have you been in every town in Stoddard County so far?
So as far as putting up signs,
Yeah.
we've got signs in every town. So far, I've door knocked Essex and Bell City, Pennerman, and during the week I'm doing Dexter in the evenings after work. And then we've still got Puxco Advance, and we've done some of Bernie. We haven't finished all Bernie yet. So.
And obviously, we were talking off the air about this too. A lot of people, after COVID and things of that nature, some people say, well, why are you still knocking on doors? I think that retail politics is really very popular here in the area, don't you?
We have a aging population, let me put it that
Right.
way, and they're still kind of old school, and that's what they want, and those are the people that vote, and I have a lot of relationships with them over the years, and matter of fact, I knocked on one last week, and I've seen him out 3 or 4 times, and I said, well, this is your official, hey, I want your vote visit, because
Yeah.
I've seen him around town, and he told me he was going to vote for me, but it's good to still show up. So
And that's one thing. If you talk to these people who say that they're political consultants and things of that nature, they're like, the retail politics is the way of the past. You need to do internet stuff, and you need to do all this other stuff. I'm with you. I think that the door knocking and the reaching out and going to events really matters.
yeah, even like Facebook, I mean, it's kind of a younger generation following there, but unfortunately they don't vote as strong as the over 40-50 crowd. So
it's a lot easier to sit on your phone and like something than actually drive to a polling place and ask for a ballot these days. So
exactly. Yeah.
And again, we're on Welcome to the Booth with Darren Todd on KDX AM 1590, talking to Larry Sandage, longtime owner of L&M Locksmith, also security company here in the area. You can call the locksmith office at
573-624-7408.
if you need anything from Larry. And if you just have a question, I mean, I reached out to Larry via Facebook, said, hey, I'd love to have you on the show. He responded within 10 minutes, said I would love to have an opportunity to speak to the voters.
Yeah, it's got my email and my cell phone number actually on the Facebook page.
Very personal. Again, very knowledgeable. What are some of the things that you plan on doing from here on out in the next 6 weeks? What's some of the things that you're looking at for?
So my daughter is actually my treasurer, and she is a slave driver. So I tease her about it all the time, and I just I'll tell her no, but we still go ahead and do it, whatever it is. But we've got a heavy schedule of door knocking for the next 5 weeks for sure, rain or shine. I actually walked to Bell City, and it was pretty good drizzle that day.
And, that's one thing that a lot of people, again, we talked about it earlier, the family and the volunteers are so important for you to be able to get out there and knock those doors. Knocking doors, it takes a lot of time. People don't realize, even Bell City, and I love Bell City, smaller community, but that's still going to be a day.
Yeah, it was spread out on Saturday. Yeah, we were there about 6 hours. Yeah.
Again, so tell me a little bit about the family. I know that you said your daughter is the treasurer. Tell me a little bit about the family.
So she is actually teaching at Small Wonders. Just started teaching at Small Wonders. I have a 2-year-old grandson. I mentioned the 7th grader, but I have a 2-year-old grandson. His birthday is in a few weeks, and so she's been at stay-at-home. She was an agent for State Farm for quite a while, and decided to stay home with the little one, and so now she decided to venture back out. He's eligible to go to Small Wonders this year, and so
well, let's give him a shout out. What's his name?
Jax Kyler. So
and his birthday is
July 26th.
So everybody get on Larry's Facebook page and wish him a happy birthday on July 26th. And then you have some other family members that's been involved as well.
Yep. So actually, my daughter's birthday is the day after his.
Well, I think she probably needs the biggest shout out, don't you think?
Yeah.
Anybody that can organize a campaign is an amazing individual to be.
She's a rock star. She sometimes she overwhelms me, and she overwhelms herself. And I say, look, we can do this, but there's a lot of stuff that it's not going to be beneficial, and it's going to be too time consuming. You got to weigh those options, and they're I'm kind of the keel and the steady ever. Okay, let's just breathe here and let's think about this and let's trim it down a little bit type thing. So
and again, we're on Welcome to the Booth with Darren Todd on KDX AM 1590, talking to Larry Sandage, Republican candidate for county clerk of Stoddard County. And when I was running, I kind of looked at it like it's a marathon, not a sprint, because you can wear yourself out really quickly.
You can, and you get your name out there too soon, and people start ignoring the signs, and that's been there forever, and so, excuse me, you don't want to peak too early, but you definitely there's a steadiness there. You want to stay active.
You want to kind of have a philosophy of I want to put some signs out and then save some sign locations, and I'll put some more signs out. And then
correct.
It's almost like a growing thing. You talked about the 1998 election.
Correct, yeah.
So you've been in the Republican Party since 1998.
Yeah, off and on. I've so actually it's so funny. I was born in the late '60s. I can actually remember the election of Jimmy Carter and Gerald Ford.
Right.
And I have a cousin that's exactly a week. She likes a week being 10 years older than me. And so this I would have been 8, and she was turning 18. It was her first election, and I remember sitting at their house one day and was talking. And I've always grew up assuming I was a Republican,
right?
Because I can remember, doing the presidential banner and artwork, and I did Ford,
right?
And didn't do the Carter one. Half the class did the Carter ones or more. And but I teased her about. I asked her. I said, "Who are you voting for?" Because she was going to be 18 that year and she was going to be eligible. She said, "Oh, I think I'm going to vote for Carter." And I'm like, "Why?" Even as an 8-year-old,
right.
It's kind of odd. I think about it, but. Anyway, they ended up, her and her sister both voted for Carter that year, and I razz her about it every once in a while. So.
Well, and again, we're on Welcome to the Booth with Darren Todd on KDX AM 1590, talking to Larry Sandage, Republican candidate for Stoddard County Clerk, longtime owner of L&M Locksmith, and also, and I always get this wrong, and I apologize, the security
Professional Security Systems.
Security Systems that's in the area. You can call L&M Locksmith for any of those needs or requirements at
573-624-7408.
And if you just want to talk to Larry, he's a very personable guy. He was the valedictorian of his class in
1986. Yeah.
1986.
Yeah.
Does it seem like it's been that long since you graduated?
This will be our 40th. No, it does not seem possible. So.
And I wake up every day. I'm 53, and I think to myself, I'm about 22. Then my body reminds me.
Then you get up on the feet and you realize it. Yeah.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about. I'm fascinated about the locksmith business, and I know a lot of people may be like, "Why are you asking this question?" But you don't have a set schedule, do you?
No, not for the most part. People don't schedule their emergencies. Say, "Hey, right. I'm going to lock the kid in the car tomorrow. Can you be ready by 2?" That doesn't happen, and so. It's played by ear just about every day. I wake up in a new world. I have a schedule of things that I would like to do that day,
right?
But sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't. So,
and I think it's very important for people to realize you're like, hey, I need you to come and change a lock that's functioning, that I'm not having any problems with. They don't realize the number of emergency calls that come in that you have to say, I would love to come and just sit and take a nice hour and change your lock, but I've got to go unlock this car, I've got to do this. So people kind of need to realize that as well.
Sure. Matter of fact, we were at an event, I think it was Memorial Day weekend, and a customer called from Puxico and they couldn't open up, and we were setting up for the event, and I told my daughter, I said, I have got to go let them in, at least so they can open up, So we ran over there and took care of that, and then I told them I'll be back after the event. And so, after the event ended, 3 or 4 o'clock, I ran back and took care of them. And so it's a lot of that. And when we first started, it would, aggravate my wife just tremendously. She's a planner, and we can't plan things. It's so hard to plan stuff. And she's got used to it for sure.
And I think it's very difficult. Again, we're on with Larry Sandage on KDX AM 1590. Welcome to the Booth with Darren Todd. Larry's the one of the Republican candidates for county clerk for Stoddard County, talking about his business, L&M Locksmith. That's one thing. I don't know how you'd plan to go on a vacation.
So I mentioned that to some people. I was giving a speech, and the very first week long vacation we took, I had the business 15 years. Everything had been like a 3-day weekend. It might have been Memorial Day weekend. We'd take off and go somewhere. I still answered the phone. That week that we took off to Florida, I was still answering the phone on the beach, and scheduling stuff for the next week. If it was emergency stuff, then I was referring to my competitors. I mean, I still take care of my customers that way. They're in a bind and I'm out of town. Let me try to help them, that way. So. And
then we talked a little bit earlier, you had thought about running in 2010, is that correct?
Correct, yes.
And then Joe Watson ran.
Yes.
He was he's the abstract guy, correct?
Yes, yeah, countywide abstract title.
And you decided it wasn't the right time at that point. You thought about it, and then again in 2018 there was some stuff that just didn't allow you to do it at that time.
Yeah, it was a lot of family stuff. Yeah.
It's politics is a unique situation because the elections are every 4 years, and sometimes, like you say, the timing just doesn't work out, and then by that point, then you're 4 years into it, and you're so you almost have to take the opportunity when it fits everything correctly.
Yes, correct. Yeah. That's the way it worked out this year, and a lot of people, thought I was, silly for doing it or whatever, but it was the timing. And
again, we're on Welcome to the Loop with Darren Todd on KDX AM 1590, talking to Larry Sandage, Republican candidate for Stoddard County Clerk. Larry, one thing a lot of people don't realize is, there's people who are interested in doing jobs, but don't tell everybody, and they don't realize how much, because if you would have told me that you'd ran in 1998 or that you'd thought about it in 2010 or 2018, that's private information. A lot of people, 1998 is not, but there may be people who's like you say that, I can remember politicians say, I wanted to do this, but by the time it was time to run, things had changed. Mm-hmm. So that's good to know. And I'm thinking that, have you been kind of telling the voters a little bit about that?
Yeah. I've made a few speeches with that included, and I've actually, I try to keep, everything that, is informational on my posts on my Facebook page, and I take a lot of time composing those and just getting the wording right and making sure that it's concise. It's not like a novelette that you got to sit there and read for 20 minutes, but just some kind of a brief synopsis basically of how my biography, my work history, my philosophy in general. So.
And again, if you're interested in that Facebook page, it is
Larry Sandage for Stoddard County Clerk.
And hit that follow button, and then you can keep up with everything that's going on in the Larry Sandage campaign. I know that you've got a lot of door knocking. July 4th coming up, obviously the 250th anniversary of the United States. We also had talked about, and again, I don't know what we can do, but I'm just going to kind of ask you this question. It's not trying to get you. One thing I think that we really need to push for is more participation in voting. How in the world do you think we can? Do you have any novel ideas? And I know we've been working on it for 250 years, right, and we haven't done a very good job of it.
No, I unfortunately, and it's always politics has always gone back to the pocketbook a lot of times, and the younger generation, I don't know if they're just not concerned about that, or it's not a big deal to them. But unfortunately, it rolls back to your pocketbook most of the time when you're voting, especially federal elections and stuff like that. Not so much local. I'm not going to affect your pocketbook that much.
And forgive me for not knowing this, but there's a large budget that's in charge in Stoddard County. But I just don't understand why more people don't want to be involved with deciding who decides where their money goes. Mm-hmm. Because I don't know how you can be outraged and upset about something if you don't vote.
I've said that. I've said that. If you vote, you can gripe, but if you don't vote, just you sit there and take it. I guess, or get out and vote the next time.
And that's almost like, and it seems like in elections, a lot of times and again, not in your election with you and Courtney, both outstanding people tremendous. But it's almost like in a selection of, I want to get out and vote for somebody that I don't like, just so I can prove a point against that person. It seems like sometimes.
Sure. A lot of times it's voting against somebody, and unfortunately, and I don't know that we're helping ourselves necessarily doing that by any means.
Well, and when you do that, are you looking at the person who's most qualified, who has the best credentials, the business owner who's been in business for 31 years, who's helped thousands and thousands of people in Stoddard County, who's made contacts all over the county, who knows numerous people who, like you said, been on every county road in Stoddard County at once probably in their life.
I imagine, yeah.
Who has deep roots in the community, obviously. And again, we're on Welcome to the Booth with Darren Todd on KDX AM 1590, talking to Larry Sandage, one of the Republican candidates for Stoddard County clerk, talking about the August 4th primary election that'll take place. Ask for the Republican ballot so that way you can vote for the primary. Larry, tell me, a little bit about your wife. I think she seems to be somebody who's very important to you. I think she's one of those sounding board individuals that you really trust.
She is. So we met. Her parents were pastors, and I was going to a little church here in Dexter, and wasn't really looking for a girlfriend or a spouse at the time, and I was 21. Matter of fact, our first date was on my 21st birthday. But anyway, her parents had come to fill in at the church that I was attending, and that's how I met her. And so I actually had my cousin ask her dad if I could ask her out. And so my brother talked me into, he said, hey, you go double date with us. He said, it's your birthday, I'll take you guys out, and you ask her out. And then it was a Friday night, and he come to me Thursday, and he said, hey, my girlfriend can't go tomorrow night. And I'm like, well, I'll call Tina and I'll cancel. And he goes, no, you go ahead. Go ahead and go out with her. And I said, well, you're still paying for it. So, so he ended up footing the bill for it. And like I said, that was my 21st birthday was our first date. And we dated for, till about December, I think. December 24th, I asked her to marry me. And then we got married in August of the next year. So
outstanding. And then obviously you've had, again, tell me the number.
Three children. Yeah, my daughter, she'll be 33, and then I have a son. He will be 29, and my youngest will be 23.
Do they all still live here in the area?
Yes. My oldest son, he works for the state, and both my sons still live with us. And then the youngest one, he works for Walmart.
Oh, okay, outstanding. And then obviously your daughter that we've already talked about, the boss.
The boss, yeah, yes. Yeah. So she's the oldest, and then she has a husband, Jordan. I'll mention him. He is a lineman, and then my granddaughter Kinsley, she'll be 7th grader this year, and then Jax.
And all proud Bearcats.
Yes, absolutely, all of them. Yeah, all Dexter graduates and soon to be.
And you mentioned Jordan, the lineman. Has Jordan been out there digging any holes, putting any signs up for you?
Oh yeah. He's when he's not out storm working or whatever. He's definitely been helping me put up signs, and from the get-go, he's, hey, let's go put up some signs in the evening. So,
and again, I think a lot of people, I would like every voter to come out and just put up about 3 signs with people who run and see how much fun it is. Isn't that right, Larry?
Well, I tell you, what's fortunate is my son-in-law Jordan we ended up with an electric post driver.
Yeah.
And we got that down to putting up one in about 15 minutes. So.
And the crazy thing about it, and again, we're on Welcome to the Booth with Darren Todd on KDX AM 1590, talking to Larry Sandage, a Republican candidate for Stoddard County Clerk, is those signs, if you don't pull them a certain way, you know how they don't want to lay out correctly, and it's amazing. But like you say, you put out about 100 of those things.
Yeah, you can tell which ones we put out first.
Yeah.
The first 2 or 3, they're kind of wavy and and floppy, and we went back and fixed a few, and we're always tending to them and weed eating and stuff like that. I feel like if they give me permission to put a sign up, I appreciate it enough to maintain it. So,
and that's one thing that I was going to talk to you about is people do give you permission to put up those big signs. They're up there for 3 or 4 months.
Yeah,
it's very difficult to mow around. So you try to do the best you can to help it.
And there's several that I just flat got told no, I'm not mowing around it. Even the yard signs. I get I ask people, hey, can we put a yard sign up? But then I always say, no, are you sure? Because you're going to have to mow around it. I just don't want to inconvenience people.
And again, I think your campaign, like we talked about the retail campaign, the old thing, well, signs don't vote, but you need signs out there. But a lot of like you say, the senior citizens who are voting, it's difficult for them to deal with those signs. So, I mean, I respect that.
It's kind of it's funny. I had one just this week. Actually, it was 2 different ones, and I asked them about putting a sign out there, and they were both senior citizens. They said, "Oh yeah, I don't mow anyway, so that's fine." There's those are okay, but
and then it can make it again. We're on Welcome to the Booth with Darren Todd on KDX AM 1590. Talking to Larry Sandage, Republican candidate for Stoddard County Clerk. Then you get nervous when you put a sign up, and then you go back and it's down the next day or whatever. And you're like, wonder why they took my sign down. But a lot of it is the person who's mowing may have taken it down or whatever and things.
Yeah, we had that a couple of times, and then I'll message the person if I don't see it for a few days and just say, hey, do I need to pick that back up, or or the wind will get them. The wind's horrible around here this year. So
Everstorm and all that stuff. So it's been again. Not only are you worrying about going to events, putting up signs, keeping the signs maintained after you put them up, you're also walking doors, handing out things, literature and things of that nature. Is there anything that when you've looked at that you've thought about how you want to change the office or anything like that, or you think that you're just wanting to go in there and figure out?
Yeah, it's going to be a learning process for sure, and whoever wins the primary will do the same training.
Right.
They'll it's just like Mr. Weeks did the same training. He come in there the same way. Mr. Watson came in there the same way. But as long as you've got a basic managerial business experience, I think it's going to be definitely doable. So,
and obviously, from August 4th until then, the November general, unless there won't be an opponent because there's not a Democrat or Libertarian, in my understanding, unless there's some kind of write-in, which I don't predict. You'll have the opportunity from August 4th to then go into the office or August 5th and start viewing things and things of that nature, correct?
I was told that would be up to Mr. Weeks, but I believe it. I don't see any issue there. I mean, I'm sure it would be possible. And
I've known Cecil for a long time. I've always thought he's done an excellent job as the Stoddard County Clerk. I wish him best in his retirement.
Absolutely.
So
I think he's excited. I think he's counting days. Last time I talked to
him. Again, at some point when you know that it's real close, I think you're like. Not that he's counting, much like election days. You're not, you kind of think.
Right.
So again, so tell me, Larry, what's the plan? This is June, end of June, almost the 4th of July. Is there anything that you really are going to focus on?
So, going back to the planning of this whole thing is after the 4th. I'll know whether I'll be making plans to transition my business. I'm hoping that my youngest, he showed a little bit of interest in it.
Right.
And so we've got 5 months to make that decision. I do have an interested buyer. So, this will be a full-time position for me. It's not going to be a side gig or a side hustle, which people have said, online. It will be, my main focus. So,
and again, I think that's important to get the voters to know is that you're not going to be working as a locksmith and then just going and letting the office be ran by whoever. You're
Correct.
correct.
I don't think it could be run that way. Absolutely could not.
You're going to be there 8 to 5 or whatever the schedule is. It's I'm not trying to.
Right.
But
sure.
And then you're going to transition the L&M, and that makes a lot of people that with L&M, that your customers will be like, please don't leave.
Yeah. I've got that a bunch, knocking doors, and I've tried to explain to him. I definitely want to keep it in the family, but the buyer that's interested, I've been to church with him for years and years, and he's a retired Army guy, spent 18, 19 years in the Army, and super guy, and he's one of the few that have approached me about interested in buying that I've really considered it, and either way it'll be in good hands, and I'll still be out and about. I mean, that's the funny thing. It's in my blood, I guess, and I still like helping people. So
I think it's very honorable of you. I'm not trying to. What I'm trying to say is, you've been doing this for 30 plus years. You're wanting. It's hard. Change is hard.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I think it's so important for people to realize whenever you did make this decision to run, that there was a lot of thought in it. This wasn't something you woke up one day and be like, you know what, I think I want to run for county clerk.
No, I had to get a lot of ducks in a row, absolutely. And that took some time. So.
And that you had thought about it in 2010, you thought about it in 2018. The time just wasn't right, and now the time is right for the time that you feel is. And again, you've also already planned kind of a transition for the L&M and the security company. And again, and just speaking with you, and this is the first time we've ever met, and I appreciate you giving this time. You seem like you're very conscientious, and before you say anything, you almost seem like you're very thorough in your what you're going to say.
I'm very slow to speak, and I think that's been a positive for me. I'm not a off the cuff person by any means. That'll get you in trouble every time. So.
And again, valedictorian of your class, very intelligent. And if you can handle a locksmith business, believe me, I'm telling you, people, if you've not seen a locksmith work, it is like a magician.
My father-in-law, one time, we were drilling a safe open. An elderly gentleman passed, and his wife didn't have the combination, and I was actually laying on my belly underneath this counter on the back porch, and my father-in-law decided to go with me that day for some reason, and he went. We were drilling this safe. I was drilling a hole in there to scope it, to dial it up, and after about the 4th hour of laying on my belly poking a hole in this safe, he goes, "Are you getting hungry?" I said, "What time is it?" He says 1:30, and then I'd done work through lunch, and I get into stuff like that, and lunch is. This is my focus right now. And he told me later, he said, "I did not realize how patient of a man you were."
And again, it is, like you say, you're working through the area of a keyhole.
Yeah, or a 1/4-inch hole or smaller, yeah.
Going from there. And again, we're on Welcome to Luke with Darren Todd on KDX AM 1590, talking to Larry Sandage, one of the Republican candidates for Stoddard County Clerk. The primary this year is August 4th. You still have time to register to vote until July
the 8th.
8th. Go to the county clerk office, register. I think you can do it at the DMV as well. But for the safest thing, go to the county clerk's office there in Bloomfield. They'll be happy to register you. And please, please, please get out and vote. 5 to 10% of the population that's registered to vote is the ones that actually vote. And again, if you don't vote, don't complain. We don't want to hear it. So, Larry, we've got about, 4 or 5 minutes left here. We've talked a little bit about your family. We've talked a little bit about you and your business. Is there some things that you'd like to leave us with that you feel like are important that I haven't asked about?
No, I mean, the main thing is this will be my focus from day one. I feel like I've got the temperament and the experience and the knowledge, the business experience to manage people, manage an office. I've got a great relationship with, the county officials up there. Known most of them for years, done work for them for years. I appreciate the opportunity to talk, and it went faster than I thought, for sure.
Well, and when we first talked about it, you're like, "Man, I don't know if I could talk for a whole hour." I said, "I promise you, when I get in there, and with you, and it just seems to kind of flow because you know things of that nature. Again, two important things we need to talk about: your grandson,
Jax, Kyler, and Kinsley.
But Jackson's birthday will be
July 26th.
So get on that
2-year-old.
Get on the Facebook page and wish him happy birthday, and also your daughter.
Yeah. Hannah. Hannah will be 33. Yeah. The day after.
Are we supposed to say she's?
Yeah, 30? She's still young enough.
Okay. I don't. Sometimes we're supposed to say they're 21. I don't know. But you know better than I do. So, and again, you've been walking doors. You've been knocking on doors. Again, just go out and vote on August 4th. We really appreciate your time, Larry, and I thank you, and I wish you the best of luck.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
And I appreciate everything you do. And I'm not just saying this. Locksmith. The number of times you went and helped people who've locked their cars and their children in their cars and things of that nature.
Yeah,
I bet you've seen some.
Matter of fact, I think I've unlocked the children's cars now that they've been locked in cars. So.
Well, with these cars nowadays, it used to be you could just take that Slim Jim down there and pop up that thing. It's changed a lot, hasn't it?
Yeah. Oh, it's been that way for years, and the old Slim Jims are. I had a guy come into my office, and this was years ago, and he had like 6 car keys made. And this was before they were transponder keys or anything like that. And I'm like, why do you need 6 to your vehicle? And he had been down in Florida, and he was on the beach, and he had a Yukon or a Suburban or something, and he said he had watched some guy lock his key in his Suburban just like his down the beach, and the cops came out with a Slim Jim, and when they did, they pulled some wires loose, and the car burnt there on the shore. And he said, I'm not having that happen to me. So the Slim Jims are no more.
And I know you're probably thinking, why I'm asking this, but my favorite is when you can like put that little bag in the window and they kind of expand it. And
yeah, that's much easier, much better. It's cleaner. You no damage. And yeah, I wish I'd invented that.
Yeah, well, I'm sure you probably could have.
I could have if I'd had the time.
Yeah, but again, when you're taking calls from probably 6 o'clock in the morning until 10 o'clock at night.
Yeah, sometimes in the middle of the night.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine the amount of times your phone rings.
Oh, I got 100 spam calls the other day.
Really?
I counted them. I counted them on a Wednesday, and I stopped at 102. And that's just spam.
So there's no telling.
Yeah.
And again, is the phone the primary way people get a hold of you?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And again, if they need you at L&M, they can call you at
573-624-7408.
And again, we're here with Larry Sandage. He's a Republican candidate on Welcome to Duluth with Darren Todd on KDX AM 1590 for Stoddard County Clerk. The election primary is August 4th. If you have any questions for Larry, get on his Facebook page, Larry Sandage for County Clerk. You can call him there at L&M. You'll see him walking all over the county in this humidity and heat. I'm sure he's been proud that it's been a little bit cooler here lately. If you see him, you might want to offer him a glass of water. Or
I did take a bottle of water from someone Thursday night for sure.
Absolutely, yeah. And he would greatly appreciate it. And again, both candidates who are walking, not to disturb you, to just let you know that they really would appreciate your vote. And of course, Larry, I can't thank you enough. I know you've been very busy. So again, I know I gave you the last word now. I'm going to give you the last word now.
Again, I appreciate the response that I've gotten. A lot of people, have supported me, had said, hey, you got my vote, no worries, and I'm still going to ask for it, even if I think I got it, But everybody just needs to turn out August the 4th, and I'll be sending out text reminders and emails and Facebook messages for sure. So
Larry Sandage for Stoddard County Clerk. Call Larry at L&M Locksmith. See him at his event. He'll be walking around July. What is that last day to register again?
July the 8th.
July 8th is the last day to register. Primary, August 4th. Get out and vote. I would like 100% of the eligible people who are registered to vote to get out and vote.
It'd be awesome.
And again, on behalf of my executive producer, Misty Hankins, my producer, Evan Todd, I'd like to thank you for being a part of Welcome to the Booth with Darren Todd. Thank you for my guest, Larry Sandage, again, Republican candidate for Stoddard County Clerk. I hope you have a wonderful afternoon and a better tomorrow.